I know we got the legend on right now.
Legend.
Rod Beard, sports editor-in-chief, the Detroit News. Let's get him on. What up, though, brother?
Gentlemen, good morning.
What's up, Rod?
Let's go. Hey, is that
Rod?
Schoolcraft? Schoolcraft shirt?
Hey, come on, man.
Let's
That's how we
go. Let's go. You know what? Before I went to college, I actually did some of my training and some of my summer runs at Schoolcraft, man. It was dope. Dope run. Really dope run. Got to play with a lot of different pro-am guys. Had a lot of good memories there, man. So it was just cool to see the sweater.
Hey, rep it.
Hey.
I try to get a little bit of everything. You've seen the Eastern stuff, the
Wayne State
stuff. I try to rap as many people as I can.
hip-hop stuff. Hey, definitely, because you're a man of culture, man. It's Rod Beard, the legend. Definitely. And Rod, today you have a wingman, because we have some giveaways over these next two segments, and Mr. Broder is going to be your wingman, because the chat has to woo you this segment. So every now and then, he's just going to let you know what the chat is saying, and Mr. Broder is going to be the one to select who's going to go home with some Woodward Tigers gear. But we got to talk about those Detroit Tigers, an incredible run. The word that all of us continue to use is special. And honestly, I want to get right to it. What do you think about their chances to make the wild card?
I think they're going to make the wild card, and I think they might even pass Kansas City. Might be the team that you got to watch out for, not just Minnesota. They've been doing everything well. I mean, one time for the bullpen. The bullpen has just been lights out amazing in this last little stretch. And the young guys that we just didn't think were ready to contribute and to win, they had to learn how to win. No. They know how to win. They're showing that they know how to win. When Winfield Perez is getting you big hits and Parker Meadows and Jace Young, I mean, all of these guys are contributing in their own way. This isn't just a let's wait until Tarek Skubal is pitching and we'll win that day. Now it's turning into they've won these first two against Kansas City. If they can win and sweep with this Skubal day to day, they could be a half game out and 2 games out from Kansas City.
Yep.
That's an amazing turnaround from what we were talking about at the deadline.
You absolutely love to see it. And Rod, if you were to pick a team MVP so far for the 2024 Detroit Tigers, who would yours be?
It's Skubal, but I think there's a lot of second places that go around to so many other people. I don't know if you can give the bullpen a vote, but the bullpen itself has saved them from so many bad games that they've had where they just couldn't score runs and they just needed to stay in the game until they were able to pull it out toward the end. So if I could give a collective bullpen vote, that might be the second place.
And Rod, can you give us your thoughts on how impressive A.J. Hinch and this coaching staff has been down the stretch for this team?
The moves have been really, really good. And you looked at some of them and you said, okay, well, why is he not starting this guy? Or why are we doing an opener for this game? And it seems like most of these opener games where they just tried to string something together have worked out. And the pinch hitting where he tried to get you in a spot where he could have a switch hitter. He has options off the bench, and he's going to make you pitch a guy or make you pitch to another batter because of the 3-batter rule for the relievers, and he gets you in the right spot. Some of these things are just working out at the right time, and it looks really good now. He's a veteran manager. There was never a question about what he could do and how he could manage a roster and manage a bullpen and everything else that goes into it. But it's fun to see that all of this stuff is coming together this way because it's been 10 years since the Tigers have been in the playoffs. And there have been so many down years in between that it's good to see the White Sox playing the bad team in the division and the Tigers vying for a playoff spot here.
Gotta love it. But something that I don't think any of us loved was the Lions game on Sunday. Rod, are you concerned with this team's outlook moving forward, or are you looking at it as it's just one game where they let it slip away and the Lions will be fine?
I will go back to the preseason. I said there's an assumption that everything's going to be okay when the season starts, and you don't know that when you don't play any starters in the preseason. You can't just flip that switch on and just say, hey, yeah, now we're just going to go out and score 35 points every week. It's not that. And I think that's symptomatic of what's going on is that everybody's not sharp. Jared Goff's not completely sharp. The backs are not where they're going to be once we get to the middle of the season. And of course, I agree with the idea that you don't want to get your guys hurt, but I think you've got to play them some in the preseason just to knock a little bit of that rust off. and get them into the form that they need to be playing. And you start with two teams that you played in the playoffs and who are probably going to be playoff teams this year. The schedule is going to get easier. There will be a little bit less indigestion than what they have right now. But what the product on the field and the Moet test, my own eye test, just says that it's not quite there yet.
Yeah, Rod, to piggyback off that, Dan Campbell said on the flagship station 97.1 yesterday that he wouldn't be surprised if maybe this offense wasn't clicking until after the bye week 5. Does that concern you at all? Does that make you optimistic that this still looks like a good team and that it's the offense holding them back? What's to make of that comment from your perspective?
No, and I think that's the point. That's the takeaway there, is that if the offense is lagging, I feel okay. The defense has been pretty good, actually. You can look at Terry and Arnold and say the pass interference calls, and he's going to learn and he's going to figure some of that stuff out. He can't be quite as handsy as it is. But the offense struggling, that's going to turn around. You're not going to have Sam Laporta with 2 catches for 12 or 13. That's not going to happen down the road. But you do know that teams have defensively started to scheme and try to take some things away and make the Lions do some different things than they were doing before. And that's where a lot of that onus is going to fall on Jared Goff to be that guy. You got the contract. Now you got to go out and earn it.
Yeah, Rod, and I wanted to ask you, speaking of defense, about Aiden Hutchinson. He had a almost record day, 4.5 sacks, absolutely amazing. Do you think that this is a product of him taking that next step, the defensive line, a little bit of both, and should this be the norm going forward?
I think it's a little bit of both, but I think it's more he's just a monster, and you cannot put a second string right tackle against. That's not what you want to do. You couldn't stop him in 3 sacks in the first quarter.
That was crazy.
If a receiver has 3 catches in the first quarter, he's doing pretty good. If a guy has 3 sacks in the first quarter, that's insane. Like, nobody, LT didn't do stuff like that. Eric Thomas maybe once or twice. But that's the 3 in the first quarter. Come on, man. Y'all need to put another tight end over there and another offense. Y'all need a jumbo package on that right side just to stop him from getting quarterback.
Yes. Speaking of Aiden Hutchinson, let's talk about his alma mater, the University of Michigan. So Sharon Moore announced on Monday that Alex Orji was going to start this game against USC, and Davis Warren was rightfully going to the bench. Number 1, do you think this is a move that will help Michigan? And 2, will Michigan beat USC on Saturday?
No. And no.
Yes.
No. I mean, it's too late. Week 1, people looked at Davis Warren and said, "Who is this dude? Like, we waited all offseason for this?" Like, Ohio State went out and got a $20 million roster. Michigan couldn't go out and get a quarterback in the transfer portal, at all. This is what we waited for. Okay, well, even if that's the case, we know Alex Orji can run. Can he throw? And why wasn't he throwing against Arkansas State? Like, this is what you knew 3 weeks ago. There's no surprise here, and this should have been a decision much, much earlier. That I don't know if you're giving Davis Warren a chance, but if he's throwing all the picks, no, bro, you can't do that. And we talked about it again. Michigan needs to run the ball, and they decided we're going to figure out the run game, and we're not going to figure out the passing game. Cool against Arkansas State, but you learned against Texas that you didn't have it. Now you're trying to work out some kinks. Are you going to go and beat USC? Like, maybe? And that shouldn't even be a question. USC is not that good. That shouldn't be a question whether Michigan's going to beat USC. In the offseason, this was a dub, absolutely a dub. Mm-hmm. And now it's certainly in question, but I just don't think they're going to win on Saturday.
And I can't blame you for thinking that. One more quick question about Michigan. Are you concerned at all with the defense? I think Wink Martindale has been less than optimal so far this season. I think guys like Will Johnson and Jayshon Barham have underperformed at times. Is this something that's concerning, or will the defense, the unit that was supposed to help carry the team, will they get it together?
I think they can figure it out, but it's going to be the same thing. When your offense is going 3 and out and the defense is just gassed in the fourth quarter, they're going to give up more points. This was supposed to be a much better defense than we've seen so far. And Texas is Texas. It was going to happen, but you shouldn't be the big plays against Arkansas State are concerning. Like, this isn't a ranked team that's going to go out there and win even the close games against the mediocre Big Ten opponents. We haven't even talked about Ohio State. Let's not even go to that point yet.
Oh my
Or
goodness.
Michigan State even is going to give them a run. Everything is week to week. This is all just a week to week proposition. Talk to me in 2 or 3 more weeks when we have a little bit more offensive data. But I think they have to be able to throw the ball. That was their saving grace last year with Colston Loveland and a better receiving core. But you've got to figure something out.